Okay, good morning, students. So today we will discuss conditional tenses. Okay, conditional tenses. Now, what are conditional tenses, students? Let me write down three sentences. Let me write three sentences. Okay. Now, students, read these three sentences properly. Sentence number one says, if I meet Prime Minister Modi, I will ask him this question. Sentence two reads, if I met Prime Minister Modi, again, students, look at the pattern. Here it's simple past, here it's simple present. And here in the second part, it's simple future. Okay. If I meet Prime Minister Modi, I will ask him this question. If I met Prime Minister Modi, I would ask him this question. Third statement reads, students, if I had met Prime Minister Modi, I would have asked him this question. Okay. Now, students, sentence one and two are future conditionals, while three is past conditionals. Okay. Now, what's the difference, students, between sentence number one and two? Most of the students have the perception that, like, for example, here past tense has been used. Okay, so it is about past conditional. That is not the case, students. Okay, if you translate this sentence into Hindi, if I meet Prime Minister Modi, I will ask him this question. इसका मतलब होता है स्टूडेंट्स, अगर मैं प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी से मिलूंगा तो मैं उनसे ये सवाल करूंगा. अगर मैं प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी से मिलूंगा, again conditional, students. Okay, it's conditional. It's like we are just imagining the situation. If I meet Prime Minister Modi, I will ask him this question. Second statement, student reads, if I met Prime Minister Modi, I would ask him this question. Second statement, students, also translate. Okay, if you translate the second statement into Hindi, it will also read the same. It will also mean the same. कि अगर मैं Prime Minister Modi से मिलूंगा तो उनसे ये question करूंगा. Then what's the difference? Like, if both the sentences have the same translation, okay, then what's the difference between these two sentences? Students, understand the difference very properly, because this difference is very important. Now, students, the difference is sentence one, students, when you use sentence one, okay, if Virat plays very well, India will win the match. Means, students, there is a possibility. In sentence one, there is a possibility. When I say if I meet Prime Minister Modi, I will ask him this question. Means I may be a son of an MP, son of an MLA. Okay, I may have good connection with Prime Minister Modi. Okay, I may have some influence. Okay, that I means I am someone, okay, who can meet Prime Minister Modi. There is a possibility. So, students in question, when you use this structure, if I meet Prime Minister Modi, I will ask him this question. Means there is a possibility. Okay. Second, students, like for example, if I write if Virat plays, if I say if Virat plays very well, India will win the match. Yes, there is a possibility because Virat is a good batsman. Whenever Virat scores a century or whenever Virat plays very well, India has won the matches. Okay, so there is a possibility. Now, students, second structure, again, it is also future conditional, but the difference is if I met Prime Minister Modi, I would ask him this question. If I met Prime Minister Modi, I would ask him this question. Means, students, अगर मैं प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी से मिलूंगा तो मैं इनसे एक क्वेश्चन करूंगा, लेकिन but students, this is an unreal condition. This is hypothetical situation. Okay, I'm common man. Okay, I do not have any political connection. So how can I meet Prime Minister Modi? I cannot meet even a councillor of my area. Okay, I'm a very simple man. I'm a common man. So let alone meet Prime Minister Modi. How can I meet Prime Minister Modi? So this is students hypothetical situation. Unreal, that is highly unlikely to happen. If I met, and okay, students, remember the structure. Whenever you use hypothetical unreal situation, you have to use, okay, you have to mention first part using simple past, and second part, students, would plus verb without to. Would plus verb without to. For example, I have just given you examples. If Virat plays very well, India will win the match. Now, let me give you a scenario, okay, in which India are 9 down, 200, okay, 9 down, and Bumrah and Siraj are playing, and India needs 100 runs, okay, more. Then what would we say if Bumrah scored a century? If Bumrah again, students, let me. India are 9 down. Okay, they 209 down. India needs 100 more runs. Okay, to win the match against Australia. It's just the imaginary situation. Now we know that Bumrah is a baller. Bumrah and Siraj are ballers. Okay, they cannot score 100 runs. It's, of course, it can happen, but it's highly unlikely. Okay, so what I would say, if Bumrah scored a century, India would win the match. Okay, I will not say Bumrah scores a century, India will win the match, because there is not a possibility of Bumrah scoring a century. Okay, Bumrah has never scored more than 10 runs in his entire career. Okay, so how can he score a century? So I would say if Bumrah scored a century, okay, India would win the match. Hypothetical, highly unlikely. This situation, okay, is highly unlikely to happen, take place. Okay, it's unreal condition. Okay, so I hope the difference is clear, students. Now, third statement, students. Sentence number 3 reads, if I had met Prime Minister Modi, I would have asked him this question. This is past conditional. ओके हम बोलते हैं ना कई बार कि अगर मैंने मेहनत की होती तो एग्जाम में पास हो गया होता, अगर मैंने थोड़ी मेहनत की होती तो आईपीएम में अच्छे मार्क्स आए होते. ओके, so this is called past conditional. Now look at the structure, students. Whenever you use past conditional, you always have to remember this structure. If plus past perfect, okay, if I had worked hard, sorry, okay. Second structure, students, after comma, remember the structure. I would have, you can use could have as well, and I would have, could have, might have. Again, past. Okay, means you have to use simple. I would have passed, I could have passed, I might have passed the exam. This is the structure, and this is the standard structure you have to remember. Okay, if I had worked hard, I would have passed the exam. I might have passed the exam, or I could have passed the exam. So this is the structure here, students. You can see in this sentence. If I had met Prime Minister Modi, अगर मैं Prime Minister Modi से मिला होता तो it's past conditional. It didn't happen. Okay, अगर मैं Prime Minister Modi से मिला होता तो मैंने उनसे ये क्वेश्चन किया होता. I would have asked him this question. Again, students, in America or US, in many students, okay, many people use this structure for past conditional. Okay, many people use this structure, okay, while they are speaking. If I would have worked hard, if I would have worked hard, okay, I would have passed the exam. Of course, translation will be understandable. Okay, मैंने मेहनत की होती तो पास हो जाता. लेकिन this structure is wrong according to British English grammar. Again, in USA, in America, they use this structure, but it is grammatically incorrect. Here you have to compulsorily use if I plus past perfect. Okay, if I had worked hard, I would have passed the exam. This is the structure, students. Okay, you must remember this. Now, what we will do, students? Okay, let me write one more sentence. Explain the concept. Hmm. Okay. If you don't work hard, you will not pass the exam. Now, these statements again, understandable. कि अगर मेहनत नहीं करोगे तो एग्जाम पास नहीं करोगे, understandable, but we have to check whether the statement is grammatically correct or not. Okay, unless you don't work hard, you will not pass the exam. So let's check. Okay, now student, this statement is grammatically incorrect, completely incorrect, because unless itself is a combination of if plus not. Okay, let me write one more. Sorry. Okay. If you do not work hard, you will not pass the exam. Now, unless students itself is a combination of if plus not, so I do not need to write this part. Okay. So what should be the statement instead? Okay. Unless you work hard, so a person listening to you will automatically understand it's if not. If you do not work hard, you will not pass the exam. And again, students, unless whatever comes, you have to use simple present tense. Okay, and in second past, students, you have to use simple future tense. You must remember this. Again, you can see, students, it's simple present, simple future. Same applies for unless you work hard, you will not pass the exam. Let me give you one more sentence. Okay, No one will leave the class until he will come. Translation is clear कि कोई क्लास नहीं छोड़ेगा जब तक वो आ जाता है. Okay. Again, student, this statement is grammatically incorrect. Okay. No one will leave the class until he will come. Here you have to use simple present until he comes. That is the correct sentence, students. Okay. No one will leave the class until he comes. You have to remember this structure, students. Okay. Now we will solve some examples. Okay. I will give you more clarification. Okay, let me write. Now you have like I will write wrong sentences. Okay, I will write correct or wrong sentence. You have to find what you have to do. Okay, the whether statement is correct or not. Let me write one sentence. Okay. Reva will not go to the class unless you will ask her. Now, this statement is grammatically understandable. कि रेवा डांस नहीं जाएगी जब तक आप नहीं पूछोगे. Okay. If you do not means if you do not ask her, Reva will not go to the class. Okay. But students देखो यहाँ पे future होता है कि वो आप अगर आप नहीं पूछोगे again it is also in future but you still have to use simple present tense after unless. Reva will not go to the class unless you ask her means if you don't. This don't is abbreviation of do not. Okay. If you do not ask her. Let me write another sentence and help you clear the concept. Okay. And students, more in your IPM exam, you are like, of course, you are asked questions related to grammar. But what you have to do? Let me write a sentence and explain to you. Okay. Now you can see, students, I have divided this sentence into three parts. That's what you have to do in your IPM exam. Okay. This sentence has been divided into Three parts. Now, what you have to do, you have to find out that which statement means which part has the error. Whether the error is in part one, two, three, okay. And if there is no error in the entire sentence, then you have to mark 4. If you think that this error is in first part, then you will write first. If you think the error is in second part, then you will write 2. Sorry. If you think the error is in third part, then you will write 3. If there is no error in the entire sentence, then you will write 4. Now, sentence read students, it can be difficult for enemy radars to detecting approaching drones which excel in stealth technology. Now, this statement is very easy, okay, to find error. Like, it's very easy to find an error in this sentence. Here, to detecting, no, it's to detect, okay, answer should be to detect. Okay, so error is in second part. Your answer would be number 2. This is how you have to solve the questions. Now, let me write one more sentence. Okay. Now, sentence reads, Sophia carries her dog, which she fondly calls Chuhya. I mean, this the name of dog for her is Chuhya everywhere she's going. Okay. Now, students read the statement and try to find out which part has the error. So, error is in third part. Error is here. Sophia calls her dog, carries her dog, which she fondly calls Chuhya. Everywhere she is going, no, everywhere she goes. That should be the correct answer. So your answer would be number 3. Okay. Had I more money, I would invest in equity schemes. Okay. Had I more money, I would invest in equity schemes. Okay. So what does it mean, student? What does it mean, students? Okay. Now, one more thing, students. You will say that this structure, you might think that this structure is incorrect because there is no if in the sentence. But this sentence is correct. Okay, let me like explain to you by giving the example, same example. Like we had this example, like okay, if I had worked hard, I would have passed the exam. If I had worked hard, I would have passed the exam. Now, the same sentence, students, can this first part, I'm just talking about first part, can be written as had I worked Had I worked hard, I would have passed the exam. Means if I had worked again, दोनों का ट्रांसलेशन सेम है स्टूडेंट. अगर मैंने मेहनत की होती तो पास हो जाता, लेकिन दिस सेम स्ट्रक्चर कैन बी रिटन दिस वे एज वेल. Had I worked hard, I would have passed the exam. If I had worked hard, I would have passed the exam. Had I worked hard, I would have passed the exam. So here, students, look at this statement now. Had I more money, it means if I had more money, I would invest in equity schemes. Again, it's unreal conditional tense. Okay, my salary is 15,000. Okay, how can I invest in equity schemes? Okay, my salary is, I'm not working. Okay, I'm unemployed. So how can I have more money? Okay, so I will use a hypothetical unreal situation. Had I more money, I would invest in equity schemes. So this statement is, students, correct. Okay, this statement is grammatically correct. Let me write a sentence, another sentence. Okay. Okay. Now, students, you have to find which part has the error. After having used his car for 7 years, okay, my brother gave it to me as a present when I start driving. Again, students, common sense question. After having used his car for 7 years, my brother gave it to me as a present when I start nahi, I started driving. Clear? So error is in third part. I hope, students, it is everything is you are like getting everything. Okay, everything is getting cleared, students. Hmm. Good concept, students. Okay, we could start the game if the coach was here to give us instruction. That's the student's sentence. Now, this sentence looks correct. Okay, we could start the game. Let me give you one more example to explain this concept. Simple students, school level example. Okay. Observe these two sentences, students. If I was a bird, I would fly. If I were a bird, I would fly. Which statement is correct? The second sentence, students, is correct. We follow British English grammar. Of course, in America, they say if I was a bird, I would fly. That is also considered correct, but we follow British English grammar. Okay. So if I were a bird, I would fly. So that is correct. अगर मैं पंछी होता तो मैं उड़ूंगा. Hypothetical situation. So same here, students. We could start the game if the coach was named. If the coach were here to give us instructions. So error is in second part. We could start the game if the coach were here to give us instruction. Always remember this, students. If I were a billionaire, if I were a billionaire, I would buy a Mercedes. Okay. Like we don't say if I was a billionaire, I would buy a Mercedes. If I were a billionaire, I would buy a Mercedes. That's the correct sentence, students. Okay. 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 I request you please pass me the book lying at the end of the table. What's the error, students? Simple, very simple, student. I request you to please pass the book. Okay, pass me the book lying at the end of the table. That's the correct sentence, students. Okay. Again, listen, read it, students. I request you to please pass me the book lying at the end of the table. Hmm. Okay. Now the sentence reads, students, in case you will need my help, I will be in my classroom until 4 p.m. Where is the error, students? Error is here. What I said, students, in case, until, as soon as, okay, after whatever comes as soon as, until, in case, you have to use simple present tense. Okay, you have to use simple future in the second part. In case you will need me, in case simple you need my help, in case you need my help, I will be in my classroom until 4 p.m. In case you need my help, I will be in my classroom until 4 p.m. That's the correct statement, students. Okay. If I was Lee, I would play guitar and make Tara sing to it. Now, what are the errors? I would say, students, there are two errors in this part. Okay. One is article error and one is conditional tense error. So just identify, try to identify what the errors are. Try to identify what the errors are, students. Okay. So if I was Lee, no, students, I have just explained this concept to you. If I were Lee, I would play, and again, guitar, students, musical instruments, so you have to use article the. I would play the guitar and make Tara sing to it. Okay, let's do one more example. Okay, let me write one sentence, students. Sentence reads, students, I prefer cricket blank football. Now, what could be the answer? Like, what should we put in this blank? Two over the most of the students will put I play cricket over here. I prefer cricket over football. This is grammatically incorrect. Whenever you have prefer, students, you always have to use to. I prefer cricket to football. I prefer, sometimes we say coffee to टी. मतलब मुझे टी से चाय से कॉफी ज्यादा पसंद है. Okay, but I will use two, students, not over than. Okay, it is grammatically incorrect. Okay. Now, say, sentence reads, students, if you remembered your list, you would have known what to buy at the store. If you remembered your list, you would have known what to buy at the store. Now, students, is this sentence grammatically correct? No. You can see second part has this structure, would have plus past participle plus third form of the word, would have, might have, could have. Okay, then this first part should have past perfect structure. If you remembered, the students, if you had remembered your list, past perfect tense, if you had remembered your list, you would have known what to buy at the store. This is the structure, students. Okay, always remember. Let me write another example. If Okay. If I had won the prize, I would take you to dinner at a fancy restaurant. Okay. If I had won the prize, I would take you to dinner at a fancy restaurant. Okay. Now, is this sentence correct, students? This sentence is grammatically incorrect. Why? If I had won, students, structure is past perfect. Okay. Then, students, what should be right here? I would take me. What should come here? If I had won the prize, I would have taken you to dinner at a fancy restaurant. Okay. If I had won the prize, I would have taken you to dinner at a fancy restaurant. Okay. That should be your answer, student. Okay. Sammy will be allowed to play only if he will share his toys. Where is the error, students? I have already explained to you. Okay. After if, there should be simple present. Okay, not simple future. Sammy will be allowed to play only if he shares. Okay, that should be your answer, students. Sammy will be allowed to play only if he shares. Sorry, students, simple present his toys. That should be your answer. Okay. Sentence read, students. Tom wouldn't like broccoli even if you would cover it in cheese. Okay. Now, this statement, students, is understandable. Okay. समझ में आ गया कि ये this is unreal hypothetical situation. Okay. कि उसको ब्रोकोली पसंद नहीं आएगी कि अगर आपने okay, चीज में कवर किया तो. Then what should be the correct answer, students? As I have explained, I have already explained to you, students. When we use an unreal condition, hypothetical situation, this first, okay, after if, whatever comes, students, after if, okay, should be written in simple past tense. If you would cover it next, students, if you simple covered. If you covered it in cheese, Tom wouldn't like this would plus or would not plus. Okay, part should be that if you covered it in cheese, Tom wouldn't like broccoli even if you covered it in cheese. That should be the student's correct answer. Let me, it's 11:47. Let's do a couple of more examples and then we will end the session. Hmm. Okay. Okay. How would you manage to pass the test if you answered only one question, students, out of 10 in the paper? Okay. Now, again, students, it's hypothetical situation, unreal situation. So, would, okay, I have used would you. After if, I have used simple past. If you answered, how would you manage? So, there is no error in this sentence. So, answer should be 4. Like, you are asked such questions, okay? Like, your statement is divided into 3 parts and will be asked to find out which part has the error. If there is an error, if error is in first part, then you will write 1. If error is in second part, then you will write 2. If error is in the third part, then you will write 3. If there is no error, then you will write 4. Okay. So, students, I hope you have enjoyed the session. Okay, and you have got some valuable insights into conditional tenses. I am showing you everything again. Okay, you just go through it. You can see we covered conditional tenses. Okay, we understood the structure. Then I gave you a couple of examples. Okay, then I explained to you the concept that is unless. Okay, then we solved some questions. Okay, to make it to elucidate the concept. Okay. Okay. So, students, I hope you have understood the concept known as conditional tense. Okay. If you still have questions, confusion, okay, you can post your questions in comment section. Thank you very much, students.